Yeah, I called it way in advance. I'm like, that guy's on the sauce.
Just from the looking at him?
100%.
Yeah.
So you just don't naturally get that way?
Yeah, you can naturally get that way if you have superior genetics and you're in your 20s.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're in your 20s, this in his 40s.
He's like 45, yeah.
He didn't have. He's carrying around too much mass. Like you would have to be in your. By the way, in your 20s, you know your hormones are flying. Right? If you're like 21, 22 years old, there's some natural guys that I follow that are fucking jacked.
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of jacked. That guy's a juiced up jacked, and it's hard. He also, I think something's going on with his abs too. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't believe
the surgery. You think that's real?
I don't know, but anyone who's willing to lie about doing steroids when it's so obvious to anyone who understands hormonal optimization and steroid use and like that more plates, more dates guy, Derek,
love that guy.
I love that guy. You know, he called it we both called it way in advance. Like, there's not a chance in hell. There's no way. It's like if you look at Mr. Olympia, right? No one thinks they don't take steroids.
Yeah. Right.
Zero people. And you would be correct.
But then when you look at that, like, do you blame him because all his competition's doing the same shit, right?
What is that?
Liver King's just he's an influencer.
No, she means
I'm talking about Mr. Olympia.
Yeah,
that's
fine. Right.
Of course. That's the same way I think about like Tour de France. Tour de France is a dirty sport. And it always was, and you know, the greatest documentary about it is Icarus. And it's not about Tour de France, but it's about bicycle racing and doping and how prevalent it is. And worldwide, it's amazing. Have you seen it?
We had him on the show.
Brian Fogel?
Yeah, we had Brian on the show.
Oh,
amazing.
I remember.
He's the same guy that did
thing.
The Dissident, the
Yeah.
Amal Khashoggi documentary, which is another
yes.
amazing documentary.
Yes.
He's fucking fantastic. But it's a dirty business. It's a
Yeah.
dirty business. So other people are doing it too? Okay.
But that's why I want
So
people
it's
to be
like
honest
just-
in the manosphere.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I work out at a bodybuilding gym, and so I'm like, there's guys who are on gear, and then there's guys who aren't fucking on gear, and like that's just what it is. But the Liver King thing drove me nuts because you were looking at like teenagers who thought they're like, oh, this is real if I eat like bull testicles or if I buy, whatever his bullshit supplements are. I don't want to say bullshit. Whatever his supplements
I don't think the supplements are bad because what he's doing is desiccated organ meat.
Right.
And there's actually been peer-reviewed studies on feeding desiccated liver. I think it was see if you can find it. I think it's to mice.
I also want to see the abs when you have a chance.
His abs?
Yeah.
Well, there's quite a few people that have those now. And people are accusing Oscar De La Hoya of having them now.
I saw Oscar say he got etching.
He got etching. Oh, okay. He's being honest.
Yeah, he got etched on a radio show.
Oscar's being honest. Good for him.
What do you think, Crystal?
So those look, to me, preposterous.
Yeah.
The amount, it just doesn't make sense. Now, you do have people that are outliers. Like, there's certain people that just have bizarre traps or crazy back muscles. Like, right there, if you show me that picture on the right, I would say, that looks
reasonable.
fine.
Yeah.
That's a guy who's just jacked. But there's something about the one on the far left where he's holding up the piece of liver. Yeah. That is just like, what is going on there?
Yeah.
Like,
I buy that.
But
especially
also,
knowing now.
Sauce to the fucking gills.
That was the best part about Derek's video. It's like $12,000 a month.
Yeah.
His entire hormone
Well, when
stack.
Derek got a hold of all of the, come on, son. Look, they look great, but.
Do they though? I mean, it's not to my taste. I'll just say that.
Oh, you're just
Ryan
being
Johnson?
nice to Kyle.
I want to see Kyle on the sauce.
It's you know what it is. It's like people like different things, and you can't. Oh, you're wrong. That music sucks. No, it sucks to you.
Yeah.
All right. Some people want a giant, juiced up, fucking Viking dude.
Yeah.
That's what they want, and some people want like an Alex Honnold, who like the guy who climbs the rocks.
Yeah, I love that guy.
They're like slim and lean. Like people like different things. So to some people, that's the optimal physique. The problem is
I'm
a little.
What's
yeah,
that?
that looks
a little different.
Yeah,
stretched out.
but oh
position.
my, that physique is
Look how
ridiculous.
lean he is.
That's
really
freakish. It really is freakish.
Well,
I mean,
they, like he's in the middle of full exertion there, right? He's throwing a spear. Look, the guy's built like a brick shit house. No ifs, ands, or buts. You don't get that way without putting in a lot of work. That guy works hard. There's no way you get there without the hard work. Like the real tragedy in this, is that this guy had an opportunity to say what's possible with chemical intervention, and here's the pros and cons, and this is the dangers of it, and also this is the nutrition that I take to optimize my body, which is also critical. You cannot get to that physique with just steroids. You must have amazing work ethic, incredible discipline, ability to push through exertion, and just have a fucking force of will. And you have to have amazing nutrition. You have to be really fucking healthy to allow all those tissues to recover and nourish them and then stay that lean. So you have to be very disciplined with your diet. So what he's done is very, very, very impressive, but he lied.
Right.
Yep.
That's the problem.
And it's
That's the
such a
problem.
disservice. Is he? I admit I haven't watched a lot of Liver King content. I'm not
Missing
exactly
out.
in the core demo for this. Is he a charismatic guy?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you
yeah,
feel like if he hadn't cheated and lied and whatever, he still could have made it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, I think so. I think that there's been a bunch of people that are openly taking performance-enhancing drugs and have enormous social media platforms.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I don't think that's the problem. I
Right.
think the problem is just being dishonest.
Lying.
If
Yeah.
you're the Liver King and you're talking about your stack and explaining to people what you take and that you're doing it all legally, and then you're also eating all this food, and the question is that a thing that would influence other people to do that when they shouldn't do that? And I think that's a personal choice. I think the real responsibility that someone has when you're in that situation, if you are doing that stuff, you should be honest about what you're doing, and then also honest if something goes wrong.
Yeah, I think it's important. So I didn't get into health and fitness till 2 years ago or so. And it's so important to have realistic expectations about what you can do, about what you can get, about what it actually means to diet. So like Dr. Lane Norton, who I use his app, Carbon, you realize after a couple weeks into a cut, you're like, oh, this fucking sucks. And you're like, and I'm only losing whatever, 2 pounds a week. And then also even with heavy resistance training, 4 times a week, diet relatively on point. Shit is hard, man. It takes years. Like, you are not going to look like Liver King overnight. And that's actually important to understand that.
Well, and I mean, number one, you just aren't going to look like Liver King
Right.
unless you do
Yes,
what he
yes.
did. But number two, I mean, yeah, some people that's just never going to be on the menu.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I'm more saying, like, for kids, especially, I didn't know a fucking thing before I started consuming all this content, like Huberman and all these other folks, Derek, all these videos. And Derek had a video once of a guy who was like 1 year out, I think. It was like, this is what a realistic 6 pounds of muscle looks like. And he was like, yeah, it doesn't look great. He's like, but that's what it looks like, man. And I was like, yeah, that's actually very helpful to me as somebody who was just starting off from the ground. And then I think about 22-year-old me. I would have fallen for it, man. I would have bought the supplements. I would have bought if I was 18 years old, absolutely. I'm like fat kid in College Station. I'm
If
like,
you really thought that's all it took to get
yeah, I'm like,
jacked.
that's all it takes. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, I'll
Sign
do
me
it.
up,
It's like
yeah.
you gotta consume good information, have real expectations around that stuff, and that's the biggest problem I think with like manosphere and Instagram culture and all that. There's some great ones out there, like Lane, like Huberman, and a few others, but
There's
a lot of
fraudsters.
grifters.
Well, and to go back to Andrew Tate, apparently part of what he's arguing is like, oh, this is just a character that I'm playing. But it's like, at the end of the day, does it
Is
really...
he arguing that?
I think so.
I
I
haven't
think
seen
I
that.
saw that. But at the end of the day, does it matter if you're playing a character if people believe it? Then there's no difference whether you're just like playing a ridiculous character because you're still selling the same thing to a public that's buying it.